Hi students, good morning everyone. Now we are going to talk about Unit 18 Organization of Tissues. What is the tissues? Tissue is a group of cells having similar structure and function. Listen, tissue is a group of cells having similar structure and function. In plants and animals, in plants and animals, group of cells called tissues carry out specific functions. For example, in human beings, the cells of the muscular tissues contract and relax and help in movements. Listen, in human beings, the cells of the muscular tissues contract and relax and help in movements. In plants, the cells of the vascular tissues conduct water and food from one part of the plant to the other. Listen, in plants the cells of the vascular tissue conduct water and food from one part of the plant to the other tissues. Types of muscle: smooth muscle, skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle. The xylem, this is phylum. Difference between plant and animal tissues. Listen, difference between plant and animal tissues. First one, plant tissues. Plants do not move from place to place. Most of the cells and tissues in plants provide mechanical support and strength. So, most of the tissues consist of dead cells because they provide mechanical support and strength to the plant. Animal tissues. Animals move from place to place and need more energy than plants. So most cells and tissues in animals are living cells. Second point, the growth of plants takes place only in some regions. So plants have tissues called mesostomatic tissues, which divide and help in growth, and permanent tissues which do not divide. Animal tissues, second point, the growth of animals is more uniform, so animals do not have separate dividing and non-dividing cells. Separate dividing and non-dividing cells. Listen, the growth of animals is more uniform, so animals do not have separate dividing and non-dividing cells. Animals have organs having specific functions, so their organs have specialized tissues. First one, plant tissues. Plant tissues are two main types. There are mesostomatic tissues and permanent tissues. How many types of plant tissues? Two types. First one, mesostomatic and permanent tissues. First one, mesostomatic tissues. These tissues are of three types. There are abyssal mesostomatic tissues and intercalary mesostomatic tissues and lateral mesostomatic tissues. How many types? Three types tissues. First one, listen, sorry, wait. First one, abyssal, and two types, abyssal, intercalary, and lateral mesostomatic tissue. Third one, permanent tissues. Two types of permanent tissues. First, simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. What is the simple permanent tissues? Simple permanent tissues are three types. First one, parenchyma and collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Complex permanent tissues are two types, xylem and phylum. Plant tissues, two types, mesostomatic tissues and permanent tissues. Mesostomatic tissue, three types of mesostomatic tissue, abyssal and intercalary and lateral tissues. And the permanent tissues, two types of permanent tissues, simple permanent and complex permanent. The simple permanent tissue, three types, parenchyma and collenchyma and sclerenchyma. And complex permanent tissues are two types, and xylem and phylum. First one, meristematic tissues. The meristematic tissues are found in the growing regions of the plant, like the tips of root, stem, and branches. They divide continuously and help in the growth of the plant. There are of three types: one abyssal and lateral and intercalary. First one, abyssal, are present in the tips of the stems and roots. They help in the growth of stems and roots. Second one, lateral, they are present in the sides of stems and roots. They help to increase the girth of the stems and roots. And intercalary mesenchymal tissues are present at the base of leaves and internodes and help in the growth of those parts. Listen, my dear students. Abyssal tissues, tips, stems, and roots. They help in the growth of stems and roots. Lateral, sides of stems and roots. They help increase the girth and stems and roots. Intercalary, present the base of leaves and internodes and help in the growth of those parts. And permanent tissues. Two types of permanent tissues: and simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Permanent tissues are formed from meristematic tissues. They do not divide and have permanent shape and size. They differentiate into different types of permanent tissues. Permanent tissues are two main types: and simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. First one, what is the simple permanent tissues? Simple permanent tissues are made up of one type of cells. There are three types of called parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. First one, parenchyma. What is the parenchyma? Consists of loosely packed, thin-walled cells having more intercellular spaces. Some parenchyma cells in leaves contain chloroplast and prepares food by photosynthesis. Some parenchyma cells have large air cavities which help the plant to float on water. Some parenchyma cells of roots and stem store water and minerals. Second one, collenchyma. Collenchyma consists of elongated cells having less intercellular spaces and thicker, thicker at the corners. They give flexibility and allows easy bending of different parts like stem, leaf, etc. They also give mechanical support to the plant. And sclerenchyma consists of long, narrow, dead, thick-walled cells. Their cell walls contain lignin, a chemical substance which acts like cement and hardens them. It gives strength and hardness to the plant spots. Second one, complex permanent tissues. Complex permanent tissues are made up of more than one type of cells. There are two types of complex tissues. There are xylem and phloem. There are called vascular or conducting tissues. First one, xylem. Consists of tracheal vessels, parenchyma, and xylem fibers. The trachelines and vessels help to transport water and minerals from roots to all part of the plant. Xylem parenchyma stores food and fibers help in support. Phloem consists of sleeve tubes, companion cells, phloem, parenchyma, and phloem fibers. The sieve tubes and companion cells transport food from leaves to all parts of the plant. Phloem, parenchyma stores food and fibers help in support. And next one, animal tissues. Next one, animal tissues. What is the animal tissues? Animal tissues are four main types. There are epithelial and muscular and connective and nervous tissues. First one, epithelial tissues are different types. There are squamous and columnar and scupoidal and glandular, etc. Muscular tissue are three types: striated and cardiac. Connective tissues are of different types. There are blood, bone, ligaments, and tendons, cartilage, and etc. Nervous tissues consist of nerve cells called neurons. Epithelial tissues. First one, epithelial tissue is the converting of, listen, epithelial tissues is the converting or protective tissues in animals. It forms the outer coverings like skin, outer covering of organs, inner lining of blood vessels, lungs, and etc. It protects the body and controls the movement of materials between the body and the surrounding of between the parts of the body. The cells are closely arranged and have a fibrous basement membranes. Membrane. First one, squamous epithelial tissues consists of a layer of thin flat cells. It is present in the linings of blood vessels, lungs, mouth, etc. The skin has several layers of epithelial cells. This tissue is called stratified squamous tissues. Columnar epithelial tissues consist of the tall pillar-like cells. It is present in the walls of the intestine. The columnar epithelial tissues in the respiratory tract has hair-like projection called cilia. This tissue is called ciliated columnar epithelial tissues. And cupoidal epithelial tissues consists of cone-shaped cells having a basement membrane. It forms the lining of kidney, tubules, and ducts of salivary glands and provide mechanical support. And last one, glandular epithelial tissues. Sometimes epithelial tissues fold inwards and forms a multicellular gland which is secretes substance. This tissue is called glandular epithelial tissues. And muscular tissues. Connective tissues help in the movements of the body. It consists of elongated cells called muscle fibers. It contains a protein called contractive protein which contracts and relaxes and helps in movements. Muscles which can move under our will are called voluntary muscles. Muscles which do not move under our will are called involuntary muscles. Striated muscles or voluntary muscles having light and dark striations. The cells are long, cylindrical, and are multi-nucleated. There are also called skeletal muscles because they are attached to bones. They help in voluntary movements of the body. Unstriated muscles are smooth muscles are involuntary muscles having no striations. The cells are long and spinally shaped and are uninucleated. There are present in alimentary canal, blood vessels, bronchi of lungs, iris of eye, etc. They help in involuntary movements. Third one, cardiac muscles are involuntary muscles having faint striations. The cells are long, cylindrical branch, and multinucleate. They are present in the heart and helps in the contraction and relaxation of the heart. Connective tissues. Connective tissues connects and joins the different parts of the body together. The cells of the connective tissues are loosely packed and the space between the cells are filled with a jelly-like matrix. First one, blood. Blood contains a fluid matrix called plasma, which contains red blood cells or BC, white blood cell WBC, and platelets. The blood transports gases, digested food, hormones, waste materials, etc. Next one, bone is a hard and strong tissue. It consists of the cells which are embedded in a hard matrix containing calcium and phosphorus compounds. Bone forms the framework of the body and supports the body and the main organs. And ligaments are flexible tissues which joins bones together and helps in movements. Tendons are fibrous tissues which joins muscle to bones and helps in movements. And areolar tissues fills the space between skin and muscle inside the organs around the blood vessels, etc. Helps to repair the tissues. Adipose tissues is found below the skin and between internal organs. It contains fats and helps to store fats. And nervous tissues. Nervous tissues help to carry messages from one part of the body to the other and responds to stimuli. It is found in the brain, spinal cord, and nervous. It consists of nerve cells called neurons. What is the neuron or nerve cell? Has a cell body containing a nucleus and cytoplasm. It has hair-like structures called dendrites and a long pod called axon having nerve endings. The axon has a protective covering called myelin stem. The neurons are joined together to form nerve fibers. The junction between two neurons is called synapse. Structure of a typical neuron. This picture is a very important. This is nucleus. This is a dendrite. This is cell body. It's a node of Ranvier. The axon terminal and myelin sheath the Sclavon cell, and it's a very important structure. Students, watch this video 2 or 3 times so that you can understand the concept well. Today's homework in science: define tissues and define animal tissue and explain connective and nervous tissues. Here I give 3 questions for you. So you have to think and answer these questions. And write this question and answer 3 times in your homework note. And also write test in your science test note and send it my personal WhatsApp number. Thank you, students. God bless you.